Hello and welcome to my student class. In this tutorial, we're looking at the WASSCE 2021 Core Math essay paper. And today we're solving the question number 2. It says that given that P equals Q minus T all divided by T plus 1 to AI, that is the I, it says that we are to make T the subject of the relation. So that is what we're going to solve here. And the II says that after doing that, that is after making T the subject, we find the value of T when P equals 2 out of 3 and Q equals 3 out of 4. So let's first look at the I. Before we start, if today is your first time on my students class channel, don't forget to subscribe and click the notification button so that you'll be promptly informed anytime we upload a new video. And hey, one more thing, click the like button so that the video can reach a lot of people. Thank you. Now let's continue. So we're gonna solve the I here. So let me start with the solution here. 2AI. So that's what we're gonna do. So we have 2AI, and I'm going to put out a question. It says that P equals Q minus T all divided by T plus 1. So the first thing that we have to do here is to get rid of the denominator here. Now if you look at the question very well, we can see that we have T here, T is down here, then we also have T here, right? So we have to make sure that we can bring the T's together so that we factorize out the T and make it a subject. So first thing first, because we have got a fraction, P is the same as P out of 1 here, so we can cross multiply. So let me write something down here, cross multiply. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to multiply what is down here by the P, and I'm going to multiply what is also down here, that is the 1 by the Q minus T. So that is what we're going to have here. We're going to have P multiplying the whole of this, because we've got two terms here. I have to introduce bracket here to show that T is actually multiplying the whole of the T plus 1 equals, so we have 1 times Q minus T, and 1 times Q minus T is going to be just Q minus T. So this is what we have here. Now the next step, because we have bracket here and we want the T to stand alone, to make T the subject means that the T must stand alone. We cannot have twice the T or more than once of the T. We have T here, T there, so we're going to expand this bracket. So we have P times T, so that's going to be PT. Then we have P times 1, that is going to be P. Then we have Q minus T. So that is pretty simple here. So we've got T here, we've got T there. Making T the subject means that the T's must come together so that we have only one T. So that is what I'm going to do. I'll leave the PT here, and I'm going to add T to both sides here. So if I add T to both sides here, the T, I'll get rid of the T here. In other words, what I'm trying to do is that I'm moving the negative T. The T here is negative. I am moving it across this equal sign here. So when it crosses the equal sign here, I'm going to have plus T here. All right. In other words, what I'm essentially doing is that I am literally adding T to both sides. So here plus T, the T will go away, then plus T, I'll have T here. In the same vein, if you look at the right side, I've got Q here. All right. Q is already here. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to move the P2 from the left hand side to the right hand side. In other words, to get rid of P here, I have to subtract P from each side of the equation. So if I do that, I'm going to have negative P here when P moves to this side. So now that I have T on one side of the equal sign, I can see PT plus T. So I've got T on both sides of the equal sign. So what I'm going to do here is that making it the subject, I have to factorize it out. That is, I have to get only one T. So I'll bring the T out, and here I'll be left with P plus, if I bring T out here, there is nothing left here. That is 1 here, because T times 1 gives 1. So that's what I'm going to have here, and that is equal to Q minus P. All right. So look at it. Equation that I have here right now. Now there is only one T here. So making T the subject means that let the T be 1 and let the T stand alone. Well, the T is 1, all right, but what is happening here? The T has a coefficient, that is an expression here that stands with a T, that is P plus 1. So in the next step, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure that I get rid of this expression. So what I'm going to do is to divide both sides of the equation by the coefficient of t, and that is p plus 1. So this plus p plus 1, so p plus 1, the whole of this will cancel that. So if that happens, what I'm going to have is that finally I'm going to have the t standing alone. So t is going to be equal to q minus p all over p plus 1. So in a sense, t has been made the subject. So making t the subject, t is equal to q minus p all divided by p plus 1. So this was a very simple one for the year 2021. We are done with this question here. We just solved this one. We just made t the subject, so we are done with this one. Now the next one says, that's the II says that find the value of t. So after making t the subject, we are going to find the value of t when p is giving us 2 out of 3 and when q is giving us 3 out of 4. So there's going to be substitution. So that's why we have something, we have change of subject and substitution into formula. So what we're going to do is to substitute the values of these variables into the formula that we have right now. So what do we have here? P. All right, let's start. So we're going to 2ai. First, let me try to put down the values here, and we have p to be, I think, 2 out of 3. Let me be sure about that. So 2 out of 3, all right, that is cool. And q is 3 out of 4. Let me show about that too. That is q is 3 out of 4. All right, let me put down the expression that links t to the other variables. We have it here. Their expression is this one. That is where t is made the subject. We have t to be equal to q minus p all divided by p plus 1. All right, so we are finding the value of t, and that is pretty simple because t is on the left and t is an expression of q and p, and we know q and p. So all that we're gonna do is to put them in and simplify. What is q here? Q is 3 out of 4. So where we see q, we just write 3 out of 4 minus p, and p is 2 out of 3. So I'm going to write 2 out of 3 here. Okay, so all divided by p again, and where do we see p? That is p. P is 2 out of 3. So I'm going to write 2 out of 3 also here. Then we have plus 1. So we have plus here and we have 1 here. All right, so we're going to simplify what we have up here and what we have down here, and many students get confused here. So the simplest way to do this is that you have to understand that you have to deal with what is up here and you have to do with what is down here. You can rewrite this as this: the numerator is 3 on 4 minus 2 on 3. So I can decide to put a square bracket on it just to show that this one is different. Then this division sign, I'll change it to this, divided by. So that means that I'll deal with this separately and I'll deal with that one. So the denominator too, that's what I've got here. I have 2 out of 3 plus 1. All right, so that's what I have here. All right, so because I have a subtraction sign here and I've got fractions, I've got denominators over here, I'm going to find what we call the least common multiple. I am subtracting 2 out of 3 from 3 out of 4, so I'll find the LCM, and 4 and 3, what is the least common multiple? Multiples of 3 and 4, we can mention them. Then the common multiples, we can mention them, but what is the least? 4 and 3, that is 12. Now 4 goes into 12 3 times. 3 times 3 here, that's going to be 9, minus 3 goes into 12 4 times 2, that's going to be 8. So let me put this into bracket until I simplify everything and I get one term. Let me look at this one too. I'm going to find LCM here, but don't forget 1 is the same as 1 out of 1. So 3 and 1, the LCM, what do you think it is? It is 3. 3 goes into 3, 1 times 2, you have 2 here, plus 1 here, goes into 3 times. 3 times 1 is 3. So that is what we have here. So I'm treating the numerator and the denominator at the same time. Now 9 minus 8 is 1 out of 12. Now that is just one term, so there is no need to bring brackets anymore. So you see that I've been able to simplify the top or the numerator expression. Now I can write division, and 2 plus 3 is 5. So 2 plus 3 is 5, so 5 out of 3. All right, from here what do I do? I have a division sign here. I will change the division sign to multiplication but something will happen here. On the left hand side, nothing will happen, but on the right hand side, I have to reciprocate the fraction. In other words, the denominator, the 3, will become the numerator and vice versa. So I'm going to have something like 3 and 5 rather. 3 here, 1, 3 can go into that 4. So 1 times 1, I have 1, and 4 times 5, I have 20. Okay, or if you did not want to cancel, 1 times 3, you have 3, 12 times 5, you have 60, and still 3 here, 1, 3 here, 20. So you still come back to 1 out of 20. So that is how to solve the II. That's after making t the subject, that's how to find the value of t. Alright, so we look at the 2b, and the 2b says that given that m equals 2x all over 1 minus x squared and n equals 2x all over 1 plus x, express in simplest form 2m minus n in terms of x. So first we have to understand this question. Let me put it down here, and we are solving 2b. So given that, that's where it starts from. So we have been given something. So what have we been given? We have been given this expression. We have been told that m is equal to that. So I'm going to put that down. We have been given that first m is equal to 2x all over 1 minus x squared. That's what we've been given. All right, m equals 2x all over 1 minus x squared. And we have also been given that n is equal to 2x over 1 plus x. And we have also been told that n equals 2x all over 1 plus x. So there is something that we have been given in the question. And what are we to do? So n is equal to that. We have to express something. Express in simplest form. We have to express this, but it should be in simplest form. So we have to express 2m minus n in terms of x. So that means that we have to write 2m, or we have to simplify 2m minus n, but the expression should be in terms of x. That is to say, we have to substitute something into m and n such that we will have x there. So that's what we're doing here. We are to simplify 2m minus n. That's what we are to simplify, and it should be in terms of x. So that means we should have x instead of m and n here, and perfectly we have m here. So that is what we're gonna do. We're gonna write the 2 here, but in place of where we have the m, we are no more going to write m because we are not interested in m. The question says that we have to express our final simplification in terms of x, not in m and n. But luckily we've been given that m is equal to 2x, and of course we see x here. So in place of m, we are going to write this expression that we see here. So we are going to write 2x all over 1 minus x squared. Then we close it. So that is the expression here. So we have 2m here, right? So we have minus, and we have to bring our minus here. Then n, we have been given n here, the whole of this. So we are going to put this also into bracket because it's not just one term. We have a whole fraction here, so it's better to put it into a bracket, you know. So you can see, there you go. So this expression 2m minus n, now we have no m here, we have no n here. The whole expression is now in x, because from the question itself it says that we have to express this, but in terms of x. It has to be made of only x, not m and n, but it must be in its simplest form. So that means that we are going to factorize things, we are going to simplify things, we are going to cancel out some factors. So first things first, let's look at this here. There is, a number here, a scalar multiplying this fraction. So I'm going to expand that. That's what I'm going to do first here. So 2 times 2x here, 2 here is the same as 2 out of 1 here, but 2 times this, I'm going to multiply 2 by the numerator. So I'm going to get 4x on 1 minus x squared. Then I have minus, all right, I can write 2x on 1 plus x because there is one fraction. All right, so if you look at this here, it gets a little bit tricky. Students have problems here because it is minus here. We are going to take what we call the LCM here. Yeah, we are going to subtract this from this. That is algebra, and students have problems with algebra. Now look at the denominators that we have here: 1 minus x squared and 1 plus x. If you are giving something like, say, 1 on 2 plus 1 on 3, what do you think will be the LCM? The least common multiple here is going to be 6. Normally when you see that the least number cannot divide the highest number, we normally multiply and we find the least here, so that's going to be 6, right? But in the case where we have something like 1 on 2 plus 1 on 4, 2 can go into 4, so the highest number here becomes the least common multiple. Now one thing that you have to note here is that anytime that you see squared and you see the minus sign, ask yourself, the terms that the minus sign separate, are they perfect squares? If you look at 1 is a perfect square. We can write 1 as 1 squared, and of course that is a squared, so it's a perfect square. Now that is called difference of two squares. That is what we call it, difference of two squares. Difference of two squares. So it is very important that you know this. Immediately you see this, by now you should understand these things. If you are preparing for your WASSCE, you should be able to be doing these things here. So what I'm trying to tell you here, essentially what I'm saying here is that 1 minus x squared is equal to 1 minus x, then 1 plus x. These are the factors here, right? So it is pretty much important that you know this, because if we do not know this, we are going to repeat some factors in the least common multiple. So before I even go on to write this, let me try to show you this here. That is what I mean. What I'm trying to tell you is that this is going to be 4x, and 1 minus x squared is 1 minus x as 1, then 1 plus x as 1. All right, minus, and here too we have 2x on 1 plus x. So if we are finding the least common multiple of this, we don't repeat the factors that we find here and there. So I see 1 minus x here, I don't see it here, so I'm going to write 1 minus x here. Okay, I see 1 plus x here, I see it here. I'm not going to write it twice, I'm going to write it only once, so 1 plus x here. All right, so that is what we have to put here. So essentially from here we could have done this 4x over 1 minus x squared minus 2x on 1 plus x. The least common multiple, we could have just written 1 minus x squared, because 1 minus x squared, within 1 minus x squared we can find 1 plus x, because 1 minus x times 1 plus x, this here is the same as 1 minus x squared. That is what I want you to know, because some students will write 1 minus x squared here, all right, and they will still add 1 plus x, which is wrong, because within 1 minus x squared there is still 1 plus x, so you are repeating that factor. That doesn't make it the least of the common multiple. Do you get it? All right, so that is what I'm talking about here. So let's clean this and let's go by this. So you could have done it that way anyway. So let's look at what we're going to do here. So if you take 1 minus x, 1 plus s, it divides 1 minus s, 1 plus s, you get 1. This same thing divides this, it goes into this once, and the 1 times 4x, you get 4x here. That is pretty simple. What I mean here is that 1 minus x, 1 plus x divided by 1 minus x, 1 plus x, you get 1, because this will cancel that, this will cancel that, so you're gonna get 1 here. So that 1 times 4x, you get 4x. So you have minus here, then you go on to the next one here. So 1 plus x divides the LCM. What do we get? Now let us also look at that one here. I'm gonna also look at that one here. So that is the LCM. I'm going to write it. That's 1 minus x, 1 plus x. So we are saying that 1 plus x divides this, it goes into this how many times? So it goes into it means that it divides it how many times? So when this divides it, the 1 plus s will cancel 1 plus s, so it goes into it 1 minus x times. So that's what we're gonna get here. So that's 1 minus x times 2x, and because 1 minus x comprises 2 terms, that is what we're gonna do. We're gonna write 2x multiplying the 1 minus x. That's what we have to do, because there is 2, we have 2 terms here. So from here we can go on to simplify this here. So let's put it here. So we're gonna have 4x, so this is equal to 4x minus, so we have 2x times 1, that's going to be 2x. Then we have negative 2x times negative x here, so that's going to be positive 2x squared. So here negative 2x times 1 is negative 2x, negative 2x. If negative multiplies negative, we get positive. We do say negative po. All right, so all divided by, then we have the LCM, that is 1 minus x, then we have 1 plus x. All right, so let's see how we simplify this. The first two are like terms, 4x minus 2x. That is pretty simple. If you take out the x, that is 4 minus 2, so that is going to be 2x. Okay, 2x squared is not a like term. Let me write that in red ink for you to see. So plus 2x squared. Okay, and what do we have here? We have 1 minus x, 1 plus x. So 1 minus x, 1 plus x. All right, but if we look at what we have here, we can still see some common factors there. Let us try and see if we can bring out some factors. It could be that something can cancel something out here, because we can see 2 here, 2 there, so we can bring 2 out here. We see x here, x squared there, we can get x out of there. So we have taken 2x from here, so what is left here is 1. Then we have plus here, we have taken the 2 out here, we have taken x out of x. X times x is x squared, so when we take x out, it's going to be left with just x. All right, divided by 1 minus x, 1 plus x. All right, so there you go. We have 1 plus x on top here, canceling 1 plus x here. So eventually what we're going to get on top here is 2x, and what we're getting down here is 1 minus x. So if we express the expression that is 2m minus n in terms of only x, that is what we get. We get 2x all divided by 1 minus x, and that should be the answer that we should get here. So that is all that for question number 2 of the 2021 WASSCE 2021 core math question, and this is how we solved it.